Yeah. Hello everyone. How are you all? I hope you are all well. Okay, we will discuss about the nutrition topics for the upcoming lectures. So the SLOs for the nutrition topics which includes number one is nothing but we have to describe the importance of various dietary components and the importance of dietary fiber. That's the first SLO of this topic. And second one is nothing but so we should have to explain the quality of the protein. So it's nothing but nutritional quality of proteins. Okay. So third thing is nothing but so we should have to explain the normal dietary requirements and what is BMR and thermogenic effects. So which is otherwise known as specific dynamic action of food. Okay, clear, right? And fourth one is nothing but so what is balanced diet? So the balanced diet in adults, so balanced diet for childhood and for pregnancy. Okay. So and the other one. So fifth one is nothing but fifth important synopsis nothing but so we should have to describe the types and causes of PEM. So PEM is nothing but protein energy malnutrition and the effects of protein energy malnutrition. And seventh topic, the seventh synopsis nothing but so we should have to learn about that causes, effects and health risks associated with obesity. Okay. And the last one is nothing but so what are the dietary advice which we will be giving to the patient with diabetes mellitus and coronary heart disease. So these are the various synopses of what we're going to discuss for the upcoming lectures. Clear? Shall we proceed? Yes. Okay. Yeah, we'll move. So number one. So what are the importance of various dietary components? So what is a dietary components? So dietary components are called nutrients. Okay, the nutrients are nothing but they are necessary constituents of body, which is required. Okay, so nutrients are nothing but they are the necessary constituents of food required by organisms for growth and maintenance of life. Okay, I hope you understand the first point. And second thing is nothing but these nutrients are of a five classes. They all contribute to an adequate diet. And third one is nothing but these nutrients have been classified into macronutrients and micronutrients. Clear? Yeah. And then now, what are the macronutrients? So macronutrients are nothing but these four. Mainly, it comprises of three components. So which are nothing but carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Clear? So carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Okay, so they form the main bulk of food. If you are intaking any kind of food, these three comprises the major forms. Okay, so protein, fats and carbohydrates nothing but major source of all food items. So in the dietary pattern of Indians, they contribute, okay, they contribute to the total energy intake. Okay, for Indian they will be having some kind of food items, no, ourselves. So we will be contributing to the total energy, I mean sorry, in Indian dietary pattern, right? So we will be intaking some food that itself they will be giving some energy to the body. So how we are intaking the food ourselves Indians. So we will be taking carbohydrates as a major source. Clear? We will be taking carbohydrates as a major source. So from 50% to 70%. So 50% to 70 percentage of carbohydrates we will be intaking. Clear? So and then we will be intaking so apart from carbohydrates, so carbohydrates will be the major source. Apart from carbohydrates, we will be going for fats. So fats are nothing but we will be taking the fats in the amount of 35% to 45%. Clear? First, the our major source is nothing but so the major nutrients what we are consuming is nothing but carbohydrates about 50 to 70%. And second one is nothing but fat. So fats are we will be intaking the fats in the percentage of 35 to 45 percentage, And finally, here we comes for the proteins. So proteins, we'll be intaking the proteins in a very less amount. Okay, so that includes 7 to 15%. So for the in case of European countries, they will be intaking more amount of proteins as a macronutrients. Okay, so they will be intaking large amount of protein food items. Clear? Shall we go? Yeah. So proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Okay, they are sometimes referred to proximate principle. You can ask me what is a proximate principle. So proximate principle, it shows. So what is proximate principle? It shows when the substance is oxidized in the body, when it gives energy. So when the substance is oxidized in the body, that yield energy. So energy is nothing but what? So we need energy for functioning of our body. So okay, if something gives energy by oxidation, okay, so okay, if something goes for oxidation in the body to yield energy, these things will comes under proximate principle. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So and then the second part. So what is the primary function of protein? As we all know, so proteins are nothing but building blocks of our body. So what is a protein? So proteins are nothing but so they are the combination of amino acids. So the amino acids are combined with the peptide bonds to form proteins. Okay, so we have that amino acids in two classes, so that had been classified into two types: essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. So both this essential and non-essential amino acids are comprises to form building blocks of body. Okay. Okay. So, and then finally, we look into the fats. So, fats are concentrated source of energy. So, fats are nothing but concentrated source of energy. Okay, if you're intaking the fat, that will be stored in liver and adipose tissue as in liver and adipose tissue. Okay, so the fats are nothing but they are the concentrated source of energy which provide. So, okay, these fats will provide essential fatty acids. Okay, this will provide essential fatty acids which have vitamin K like function in the body, which will have a which will like vitamin like function in the body, which will like vitamin like function in the body. Okay, and next one is nothing but water. As we all know, water is a solvent of the body, and which helps in the transport of all the things in the body. Okay, so it is nothing but a transport vehicle for distributing nutrients to the tissues. Okay, clear, right? Okay, so even though it is not a nutrient by definition, but it is required to replace. Okay, we should have to replace the water because we will be losing the water in case of urinating. I mean, in case of urination, we'll be losing the water. In case of breathing, we'll be losing the water. As a form of sweat, we'll be losing the water. So the water we had lost should have to be yeah, we have. That's why we are feeling thirst if we have lost the water. So due to the dehydration we will be losing the water, and then we have to drink the plant. I mean, we have to drink the water. So first point is nothing but water is a solvent of the body, and which helps in the transporting of nutrients to the tissues. Okay, clear it. And then and then so we'll move on to fibers. Okay, so fiber is also the fiber is nothing but a carbohydrate body. Okay, but it is not a nutrient. So fiber is made up of carbohydrates. Okay, fibrates are nothing but carbohydrates. It's not a nutrient. So but it plays a vital role in case of food components, but it will be considered as a vital thing in case of food components. Yeah. And then we'll move on to micronutrients. So what are the micronutrients? So micronutrients are nothing but vitamins and minerals. Okay, basically vitamins and minerals will be comes under micronutrients. Okay, so why? Because we need these vitamins and minerals in very small amounts. Okay, we need this vitamins and minerals in very small amounts, so which may vary from a microgram to several grams. Okay, we will be taking that minerals and vitamins only in micrograms. No, as we are learned the vitamins will be, you just look into the all the, it will be like only that micrograms or grams. Okay. Okay, so vitamins and minerals plays a vital role in case of all the metabolic activity, which helps for the body and helps in utilization of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Okay, so and the final point is nothing but minerals are also used for the formation of body structure and skeleton. Okay, here this tabular column depicts so what are the macronutrients and what are the micronutrients. Okay, so the macronutrients are nothing but already I'd explained. Yeah, so macronutrients, so which will be intake in large quantity, which includes carbohydrates, fats, and protein. So if you're thinking about the carbohydrate, what are the major things comes under the carbohydrates? Number one is nothing but glucose. Number two is nothing but fiber. Okay, and second macronutrients are not, second important macronutrient is nothing but fat. So if you are thinking about the fat, we have to think about that essential fatty acid. So essential fatty acid is nothing but PUFA. So here we are depicting only two things: linoleic acid and linolenic acid. Okay, so and third one is nothing but proteins, as I had explained earlier. So proteins had been classified. I mean, proteins are nothing but chain of amino acids. So this amino acids had been classified into two types, basically essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. So in case of essential amino acid, as we all know, MAT will fly. Okay, Matt will fly. That's the mnemonics behind this. Okay, all essential amino acids, and have a look into this micronutrients. So micronutrients are nothing but I had already said, no, like it's nothing but vitamins and minerals. In case of vitamins, we had classified the vitamins into two types. So fat soluble vitamin and water soluble vitamin. So fat soluble vitamins are nothing but ADEK. I hope you people are very thorough with these things over there. And then water soluble vitamins are nothing but so B and C. Clear? So B includes thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, pyridoxine, pantothenic acid, biotin, cobalamin, and folic acid. And finally, the micronutrients comprises of minerals. So I had said vitamins and minerals, which comes under micronutrients. And finally, we look into the minerals. So what are minerals? Okay, so these minerals are nothing but micronutrients. These minerals had been classified into two categories. So one is nothing but macro mineral, and second one is nothing but micro mineral. So macro minerals are nothing but sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sulfur, and chloride. Okay, so micro minerals are nothing but chromium, cobalt, copper, okay, fluorine, iodine, iron, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, and zinc. These are the compounds which comes under macronutrients and micronutrients. Clear? So I will repeat: macronutrients have been classified into three. So carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So proteins have been classified into two things. So essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. Because amino acids are nothing but building blocks of amino acids are comprised of one protein. Okay, and then look into the micronutrients. So micronutrients, which includes vitamins and minerals. So we have classified that vitamins into two types: fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. And finally, minerals. So minerals had been classified into two types: macro minerals and micro minerals. Clear, right? Shall we proceed? Yes. Yeah. Now we will look into that. What is the role of micronutrients as well as the macronutrients? So first we will finish up that role of macronutrients. Okay. So if you are thinking about that macronutrients, so already I said no, carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. So first we will finish up with the carbohydrates in the macronutrients topic. So carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are nothing but, yeah, that I hope you all know about that definition of carbohydrates. So it's nothing but polyhydroxy derivatives of aldehydes or ketones. So we had classified the carbohydrate. I think you all know about the classification of carbohydrates. Yeah. So monosaccharide, disaccharide, and oligosaccharides, homopolysaccharides, heteropolysaccharides, like that. Okay, I will not go into that. Okay, so we will look into it. So these carbohydrates are nothing but they have been classified into, just think about this one only. So this carbohydrate had been classified into two things. So digestible carbohydrate and undigestible carbohydrates. In case of this topic is concerned, nutrition is concerned, we'll be classifying this carbohydrate into two types. So digestible carbohydrate and undigestible carbohydrate. So you can ask me, what is a digestible carbohydrates? If you are intaking any carbohydrate moiety, that has to be metabolized by the enzyme, and then that has to be absorbed by our body. If that if some carbohydrates are not undigested or unavailable, so that cannot be absorbed, no, because that will not catalyzed by the enzymes. Okay, so this carbohydrate moieties, I mean these carbohydrates are being classified into available carbohydrate or unavailable carbohydrate, or digestible carbohydrate or undigestible carbohydrate. As we all know, carbohydrates will be cleaved by the enzymes. Okay, so and then that will be converted into further smaller molecules, which includes monosaccharides, disaccharides, like that. So and then later that will be catalyzed and then that will be absorbed. If that metabolism doesn't takes place in case of undigestible carbohydrates, so what happens? So undigestible carbohydrates, which are nothing but, so already I said dietary fibers. So dietary fibers are nothing but undigestible carbohydrates. So okay, we'll move on to the these points. Okay, so the digestible carbohydrates are a major source of food energy. So how we are saying this is a major source of food energy? Okay, so what is the energy level it will be giving? So since we are Indians, we are consuming more amount of carbohydrates. Okay, so carbohydrates is a major source of food, and then this will gives us a more energy. So how this is a calculation behind this? So 1 gram of carbohydrates in the digestion. So if 1 gram of carbohydrates going for, okay, if the 1 gram of carbohydrates is going for metabolism, that will be giving 4 kilocalories, 4 kilocalories of energy. Okay, so this carbohydrates will provide, so 50 to 70 percentage of the energy requirement. So this carbohydrate will provide 50 to 70 percentage of the energy requirement. So and then, so what is that protein sparing effect? So this carbohydrate have protein sparing effect. If the carbohydrate metabolism had been increased, that will prevent the I mean that will used for protein sparing effect, because proteins are nothing but building blocks of our body. If okay, we will discuss about the proteins later. Okay, so we'll finish off this carbohydrates first. Okay, so and then we'll move on to undigestible carbohydrates. So unavailable or undigestible carbohydrates are nothing but dietary fibers. So what is a dietary fiber? We'll look into it. Okay, so just already I explained, no, we will be intaking 50 to 70 percentage of carbohydrate. Okay, in our food source, and these carbohydrates will be providing the more energy source to our body. So most of the Indian diets contains more than 90%, like, so we used to have rice in case of South Indians concern, and then we use, I mean, the North Indians concern, they'll be having chapati as a major source. And just look into this. So most Indian diets contain amounts more than this, like more than 50 to 70%. Okay. So what happens? So due to that, so 90 percentage of total energy intake in some cases will be imbalanced. So that's why we have to look into the balance diet. If you are intaking any food, okay, if you're intaking any food, that should contain a balanced diet. You'll be I mean, you should have to have food in that balanced form of, like, that should be mixed with the carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and vitamins. Everything should have to be mixed in case of balanced diet is concerned. If you are intaking more amount of carbohydrate alone, so your diet will be imbalanced. So this is what this slides depict. Clear? Clear, right? Yeah. So just look into this. So dietary fiber. So what is a dietary fiber? So I just already said, no, it's a nothing but indigestible carbohydrates which are present in foods. So indigestible or undigestible carbohydrates present in foods. So these carbohydrates, this dietary fiber, these carbohydrates consisting of majorly four things. So cellulose, yeah, pectin, gums, and mucilages. I hope you all know about cellulose, right? Yeah, cell wall, and this also this pectin. You came across this pectin in the cell wall of other organisms, and then gums and mucilages. So these are the major dietary fibers. Okay, which you came across. And next point. So dietary fibers is not digested by the enzymes of the human GIT. So gastrointestinal tract. Okay, so what happens if it is not getting digested by the enzymes? Okay, okay, we'll look into it. Okay, so dietary fibers is not digested by the enzymes of the human GIT, where most of the other carbohydrates like starch, sugars, and digested will be absorbed. Okay, so starch and carbohydrates will be digested and absorbed. In case of dietary fiber, that will not be digested and that will not be absorbed. It will be wandering here and there. And then next point. So plant foods are the only source of dietary fibers. You can ask me whether meat will be providing dietary fibers. No, obviously it does not have any dietary fibers. In case of plant source, so dietary fibers will be majorly supplied through plant foods. Okay, so it is found only in vegetables, fruits, and grains. Clear? Make a note of it. So dietary fiber may be the important short answer questions for you guys. Okay, so in the next part we had seen what is a dietary fiber. So it is nothing but ingestible carbohydrate, indigestible carbohydrate. And then what is the importance of this dietary fiber is the most important thing. So first point is nothing but a water holding capacity. So what is a water holding capacity? So dietary fibers have a property of holding of water. If you think about the sponge, right, when the sponge is like alone, right, it does not but when you are placing the sponge in somewhere else, it does not have that interaction with the water. If you are inserting that sponge into the water, it will be going for swelling like that. So dietary fibers will be just like that. So think the dietary fibers just like the sponge. Okay, okay. If this dietary fibers linked with that, I mean, if that dietary fibers getting interacted with the water, right, and this one will be going for swelling. Okay, this dietary fibers will be going for swelling, and then it will be going for increase in viscosity. It will be going in increase in viscosity. So these fibers add bulk to the diet. So if you're consuming the diet, that these fibers will be adding bulk to the diet. Okay, once you are increasing the bulk to the diet, the thickness. Okay, so bulk to the diet, what happens? So it will increase the transit time into the gut. So transit time in time is nothing but so the emptying time of the gastric emptying time. Okay, so this dietary fibers will be increasing the gastric emptying time. I will repeat. So dietary fibers will be having the property of water holding capacity. If dietary fibers, okay, combines with, if the dietary fibers combines with any water molecule, so it will absorb. The dietary fibers will be going for absorbs and swells. Okay, so like a sponge. Okay, with the concomitant increase in viscosity. Okay, viscosity will be increasing. After that, the fiber will be adding bulk to the diet what you have intaken. Okay, after adding the bulk to the diet, so what happens if adding bulk to the diet? So the transit time, okay, the food has to be transit into the gut. Okay, so the time will be increase so as soon as possible. So because it is having high viscosity, no, so emptying time, the gastric emptying time will be, yeah, so increase as, I mean, okay, clear, right? So due to viscosity. Okay, so I will repeat, this fiber add bulk to the diet and increase transit time in the guts. Okay, which is nothing but gastric emptying time. Okay, why I am stressing this? This one provides a vital role. This water holding capacity of the I mean, this water holding capacity of the fiber provides a vital role in case of constipation. Okay, during the constipation, it plays a vital role. Okay, we will look into this effect of fibers in the constipation in the next slide. Okay, so we'll go to the next point. Second thing is nothing but second important nothing but absorption of organic molecules. Okay, if I hope you all know about the organic molecules. So organic molecules like bile acids, neutral sterols, carcinogens, and toxic compounds can be absorbed on dietary fibers because it has water holding capacity. Okay, so dietary fibers have water holding capacity. It can absorb all the things, so which includes neutral sterols, bile acids, carcinogens, and toxic components. Clear, right? Okay, so if that absorption takes place, so what happens? That will facilitate its excretion. For example, these fibers combines with the bile acids, neutral sterols, carcinogens, and toxic components. So what happens? That can be absorbed by the dietary fibers, and that will be going for excretion. Okay, so this is a third point. So just look into it. So it increases the stool bulk. So how the fiber absorbs water and increases the bulk of the stool and prevents constipation. So remember this point is the most important point. So it increases, so dietary fibers which will increases what, the bulk of the stool. How the fiber absorbs the water and increases the bulk of the stool. This is a key point behind this, and prevents constipation by increasing bowel movements. Clear? And the final point is nothing but hypoglycemic effect of fiber. So how this fiber has a hypoglycemic effect? So number one is nothing but recent studies have shown the gum present in fenugreek seeds. So just google it and see what is a fenugreek seed. That will be most important thing. So this fenugreek seeds, it contains 40 percentage of gum. So what is the use of this gum? This gum has most effective nature towards reducing the blood sugar and cholesterol levels. Okay, so that's a nice thing over there. And then next point is nothing but a hypocholesterolemic effect. So I think you know about what is hypocholesterolemia. Okay, so hypo is nothing but that will be reducing the cholesterol levels in the body. So this fiber will be going for hypocholester. I mean, if these fibers, how these fibers acting on hypocholestemic effects, just look into this. So has these fibers will be lowering the cholesterol levels. So how these fibers will be binds with the bile acids and cholesterol, so increasing their fecal excretion. Note this point, this fiber binds with bile acids and cholesterol, increase their fecal excretion. Okay, and thus decreasing the plasma and tissue cholesterol level. So I will repeat, so this fiber has cholesterol lowering effect. How these fibers binds with bile acids and cholesterol, it will increase the fecal excretion. Okay, so if it has been increased the fecal excretion, if that cholesterol has been excreted through the fecal material, so what happens? So the automatically that plasma cholesterol level will be decreased, no, and tissue cholesterol will be also decreased. Okay. This is a thing which we are seeing about the dietary fibers. So this is the most important short answer questions. Okay, and then significance of dietary fibers in medicine, as we had explained earlier. So high fiber diet reduces the risk of CHD, coronary heart disease will be reduced, and that will be reducing the colon cancer. And then we can reduce that effect of diabetes. And then fourth one is nothing but diverticulosis. It will reduces that effect of it will reduce the risk of diverticulosis, and fifth one is nothing but hemorrhoids. So hemorrhoids will be reduced if you're intaking large amount of dietary fibers. Okay, so activities of dietary fibers along the entire GI tract. So how it will be getting activated? So in mouth, so it that in the mouth, right, it stimulates the saliva secretion. In stomach, it will delays the gastric emptying. In small intestine, delays absorption. Okay, so in large intestine, traps water and binds cations. In stools, it softens and enlarges and prevents straining. Clear? And then adverse effect of dietary fibers. So dietary fibers bind some mineral elements and prevents their absorption. Okay, thus if you're intaking more amount of dietary fiber may lead to mineral deficiency. This is the most important part. Have a look into it. Okay, so dietary fibers binds some mineral elements and prevents their absorption. How? Through the dietary fiber intake that may lead to deficiency of mineral elements. Clear? Yeah. So we'll move to fats. So fats are nothing but, I think, you know the chemistry of the fats, right? Okay, I will not go deeper into that chemistry. We just look into that fats. Okay, so fats are nothing but, if you're intaking the dietary fats and carbohydrates, so first carbohydrates will be metabolized. So after the metabolization of carbohydrates, we will be going for fats. If you are lacking the carbohydrates, we will be going for fats for the for the energy source. Okay, so dietary fats are high energy yielding nutrients that provide 35 to 45 percentage of calorie intake. Okay, so just look into this. So fat is 9 kilocalories per gram. 1 gram of fats will be giving 9 kilocalories of energy. Okay, so besides satisfying the metabolic energy needs, there are two essential functions. The most important two essential functions of dietary fats are nothing but, number one is nothing but, this one will be acting as a vehicle for which one? For absorption of fat soluble vitamin. So if fats are there, okay, then only that absorption of fat soluble vitamin is possible. Clear? That's the most important thing. And second point is nothing but to supply essential fatty acids. To supply essential fatty acids. We all know essential fatty acids are nothing but PUFA. So to supply essential fatty acids such as linolenic acid, linoleic acid in the body. Okay. So third one is nothing but dietary lipid, which one is also increased the palatability of food and produces a feeling of satiety. I hope you know about satiety, right? Yeah. And then fat requirements. Okay, so the daily requirement of fat is not known with certainty. Okay, up to now nobody knows. Okay, so and then during infancy, so these fats contribute to a little over 50 percentage of the energy intake. Okay. Okay, so during this scales down to 20%. So during the infants you'll be taking 50%. So when you are reaching the adulthood, that will comes around only 20%. Okay, so the ICMR expert group has recommended an intake of 20 percentage of the total energy intake as fat, which at least 50 percentage of fat intake should consist of vegetable oils. Okay, clear. And so ICMR expert team has recommended us to intake 20 percentage of total energy intake as fat. Okay, which at least 50 percentage of fat intake should consist of what? Vegetable oils. Because vegetable oils are rich in essential fatty acids, so which includes linolenic acid, linoleic acid, and arachidonic acid. Okay, so proteins and amino acids. So proteins are important constituents of tissues and cells of the body. Okay, we have discussed about the proteins and amino acids in chemistry, and just we are just nothing but we will have a touch with this. Okay, they form the important components of muscle and other tissues. Okay, and vital body fluids like blood. Okay, because of blood will be having hemoglobin, and so these proteins has a vital role. And proteins in the form of enzymes and hormones are concerned with wide range of metabolic important metabolic process in the body. So how? Proteins are as antibodies, which helps the body to defend against infections. So which are nothing but immunoglobulins. Okay. So protein supplies two major things which are nothing but two types of two types of amino acids which are nothing but essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. So essential amino acids are nothing but, yeah, which has to be supplied through diet. Non-essential amino acids are nothing but amino acids which will be synthesized in the body itself. Okay. So okay, so we look into it. So each amino acid have different property, and each amino acid have different metabolic functions. Okay, so the amino acids which are not used for the protein synthesis or broken down to provide energy. So which is a wasteful way of using proteins. Okay, this is not the primary function of amino acid. So our diet should contain adequate carbohydrate and fat to provide energy. Okay, so that the proteins in the diet are most economically used for the formation of body proteins. So that's why in the initial stage we had said about this carbohydrates will be having sparing action towards proteins. This is the fact behind this. Okay, so the most economically used for the formation of body proteins to fulfill the other function to essential to life, because proteins plays a vital role in all body mechanisms. Clear? So essential amino acids. Okay, we will continue with this essential amino acids in the next class. Clear? Thank you. Have a nice day.